Good morning. So today we're going to look at how the flow of matter through the nitrogen cycle and look at the consequences of disrupting it. So that's your standard for today. When talking about the nitrogen cycle, first you have to start at part A and realize that most of the nitrogen is in the atmosphere. In fact, 80% of nitrogen is in the atmosphere. However, it's in a form that living things can't use. We can't chemically break down that nitrogen. So it gets into the soil. First, it can be broken down through lightning, but also through this part E, which we call nitrogen fixation. So bacteria perform nitrogen fixation, which turns atmospheric nitrogen into a form plants can use, and plants and then animals, when they eat them, make amino acids, make proteins out of them. When these animals die, they decompose, and that nitrogen gets changed again into what we call ammonium, or it can get changed into nitrates in the soil, okay? So make sure you have this part filled out in your foldable before we talk about the bottom part of your foldable. All right, so first let's talk about how we add nitrogen, and we're adding nitrogen to the soil or to the water, not to the atmosphere. So make sure you've written soil and water here underneath. So we add nitrogen to the soil or water through fertilizers, animal waste, and decomposition. So when an animal dies and their body's broken down by bacteria and things. Okay, so talking about how we remove nitrogen from the soil, nitrogen fixing bacteria or nitrogen fixation on legume, or another way to say that is bean. So like black beans or pinto beans, bean roots, and in soil. So plants will take it in, animals eat the plants, that takes nitrogen out of the soil. We change the form of nitrogen, or it gets changed in the nitrogen cycle, through nitrogen fixation or denitrification. Denitrification is where you take nitrates out of the soil. That was by letter F in your foldable is a nitrate and denitrification. And disruptions to the nitrogen cycle happen when you overuse fertilizers. So that'll run off into the water and cause algae blooms, which prevent animals and fish from photosynthesizing, prevent plants from photosynthesizing, which destroy the things that the animals will eat. Same thing can happen with livestock farming, where it causes too much nitrogen to go into the water, so it's usually runoff. Those fertilizers can also happen by over fertilizing your lawn too. So important to remember, nitrogen is crucial to life because you find it in your DNA and in your proteins, those amino acids. It makes up 78% of our atmosphere, 80% roughly. But it's not usable straight from the atmosphere, so a big part of the nitrogen cycle is making nitrogen usable and then kind of dealing with the consequences of that. So nitrogen in the atmosphere, nitrogen in the soil are both places nitrogen should be. People just have to be careful not to add too much.